momentum has a lot to do with it. That's kind of, how I roll. This has been my path in life. Like I said, I may resist it, but I notice as I look back, I said, this is what you do, man. Hello, I'm Jeff Bridges, and this is the timeline of my career. Well, I initially wasn't attracted to acting, and that's probably because my parents wanted me to become an actor, and what kid wants to do what their parents want them to do? I had a lot of other interests, music and art, painting, and so forth. And my father, Lloyd Bridges, he said, Jeff, don't be ridiculous. That's one of the wonderful things about acting. You get to explore all of those interests that you have, and you're going to be called upon to do all those things. And I resisted, and maybe I did 10 movies before I finally said, oh yeah, this is something I can do. There's a lot of joy in this, and I really enjoy working with all these other artists. So I'm glad I followed the old man's instruction on that.
May I?
My first credit was in a movie called The Company She Keeps. It's 6 months old. It was a movie directed by John Cromwell, and Jane Greer, a wonderful actress, was supposed to be holding a little baby, and my mother said, oh, here, hold my son, And I was a very happy baby, and I was supposed to cry in the scene, be kind of a whinger. So my mom said to Jane, oh, just pinch him. He cried, just pinch him. She pinched me and I cried. And now we cut, maybe 30 years later, and I'm making a movie called Against All Odds with Jane Greer. She was in the original called Out of the Past, and we had a scene together, and I'd say, Jane, I'm having trouble. I can't quite get the emotion. Could you just pinch me? And she pinched me, and I was able to achieve the emotion that I was going for. Jane Greer, amazing actor.
Told you the kid was too young to take on a trip, but no.
What do you mean, ask my girl for a date?
You turn me loose!
I'll turn you loose anytime you're ready to fight. Come on, let's have it out.
I think I might have been the first guy cast in that movie. Casting is such an interesting, important part of making movies. It's probably 99% of what it takes to make something successful. But in my case with Last Picture Show, from what Peter said, I walked through the door and boom, that was, the character walked through and said, oh, that's the guy, I can remember having lunch with Tim Bottoms and Sybil, and we're having lunch, and we weren't allowed to see any of the dailies, the stuff that we'd shot the day before. Peter was very private about that stuff, but we had this feeling, and all of us were pretty green at the time, but we said, man, something feels special about this thing, doesn't it? Yeah, it sure does. And it was. I think that movie, that just kind of stands by itself. It's not like any other movie, and no movies like it. It just hangs there. Beautiful, beautiful film. Peter, who we lost recently, what an amazing filmmaker. And I still was thinking, I'm not sure if I want to do this, make this my career. I was still kind of wondering what I was going to do. But it felt amazing to get that recognition.
Well, Merry Christmas. Come in, let's have some punch, boy.
I recognize her.
Oh, well, it was so innovative. Steven Lisberger, I believe it was his first movie. There was nothing like it. I mean, we shot it in 70 millimeter, black and white. All the sets were black duvetine with white adhesive tape on them. And all hand-tinted by women in Korea, it was just a bizarre idea. And the soundstage lined with video games that we could all play for free. And I would get on, I remember a game called Battle Zone, this tank thing. And I'd be called to the set, and I said, "No, man, I'm preparing for the show," you know. And I would get in there to get into the world, you know.
Taking him into the maze.
Well, that CGI thing, and I've done quite a bit of it since then. But that is like the most primitive or form of acting that goes right back to your childhood, where you have to pretend. There's no giant cyclops. You've got to conjure that up for everybody. It was such so unusual, and it's funny. I think doing things that it seems like it's more risky to do something so unusual, but in a way, I think it's safer because there's nothing to compare it to. It just sits there by itself, being what it is.
Busted again. Rose, I have a theory about love and sex.
Does anybody want coffee?
Oh, I'd love some.
What theory?
Regular
Sex.
or decaf?
Regular.
I can make cappuccinos.
What I remember was having a wonderful time with Barbara, and what a great director she is. She gets a lot of, I guess flack in a way, or she's kind of known for being a perfectionist, but to have that perfection directed towards you, it's a wonderful feeling. She was, really wanted to make sure that I was, getting everything I needed and, how I felt. She was, wonderfully inclusive and had a great vision for herself, but open at the same time. That's my favorite kind of director. I think one of the things about actors and directors, each actor needs something different from a director, and the directors that can read that and give the actors what they need to relax, and so the best work can come through them. I think it's very important, and she certainly knew about that. We had a wonderful time, but I enjoyed working with her very much.
Greg, why don't you come to the kitchen and help me?
Rose, why don't you go put the coffee on?
Mother, I made dinner. Why don't you put the coffee on?
Walter, how am I going to...
No more fucking shots.
Oh, fuck. That's it. I'm out of here.
Oh, come on, dude. Dude!
Look, you just tell him we made the drop and everything went,
Oh, yeah, how'd it go?
went all right. Dude's car got a little dinged
Walter,
up.
we didn't make the fucking handoff, man. They didn't get the fucking...
They said, "Jeff, we've written something for you, man." I said, "Oh, wonderful." I was a big fan of their, Blood Simple and their early stuff, and then I got the script, and I said, "Wow, you guys must have been spying on me in some of my, high school days or something. This is, wonderful. It's nothing like I've ever played before. I don't know why you've got me in mind, but I'm sure glad they did. Yes, that's a wonderful film. Those guys are masters. They know how to do it." Big Lebowski, every scene, it's so chock full with great stuff, They write together, and I remember asking them, I think Joel, I said, "How do you guys write and direct together? I love my brother, Bo, but I think that would be kind of a nightmare because we all have these different opinions." And they, I think they said something like, "Well, we work it out in the writing time when we're writing it. So when we actually are there shooting it, we've ironed out all our differences, and they create a very, very relaxed atmosphere. They're a great audience too, which is helpful for actors. They're your audience right there when you're doing it. It's just a really good movie, man. All the characters and the way everything is executed, from the set design to the wardrobe, everything is just right.
Where you going, dude?
We're home, Donnie. Runyon knows that you're clean of the perjury, but he's got the world thinking you're something out of a bad soap opera.
That went well.
Did I just goddamn crystallized the difference between being guilty and being responsible.
What do you think
Are you asking me to step down, sir?
No, it's not going to be that easy for you, and it's not going to be that easy for them.
So Rod Lurie, I've had wonderful times with first-time directors, and this was Rod's first movie. I remember reading the script and yelling to my wife, "Hey, I think we got one here. This is good." And because I think I had just played the dude, and now I'm being asked to play the President of the United States. And I loved to switch up, my roles as much as I could. So especially in my early career, I really tried to mix up my roles so I wouldn't get typecast. So the people who were hiring me said, "Oh yeah, he could do that, and also it would pleasantly confuse the audience, so they could imagine me playing different roles. So playing the president was terrific, and again, I got to work with Joan Allen, and she was so brilliant in the Contender.
I will do whatever you say.
Show them why Lane Hansen is my nominee with your closing statement.
Oh, that went well.
Did I just paint a target on the back of my head?
Your head. What about my head? What do you think the over-under on the stock drop is going to be tomorrow?
Optimistically, 40 points.
At minimum.
Yep.
Tony, we're a weapons manufacturer.
Wow. Jon Favreau, man. What a director, what a great filmmaker. It was Marvel's first adventure into making movies. They were so lucky to have John on there and Downey, because both of them they're terrific improvisers, and we spent a couple of weeks working on the script and rehearsing together because we didn't like the original script, and we thought, oh yeah, we fix this, fix that. And then came the first day of shooting, and Marvel kind of threw out our script that we had been working on, said, no, that's no good, it's got to be this, that. And so there was a lot of confusion about what our script was, what we were going to say, And we'd spend hours in one of our trailers, going over lines and say, "Oh, you play my part, I'll play your part." Exploring how we're going to do it. John would say, "Oh, I know a writer. Let me see. He might have some ideas." "Hello, yeah, Woody, we're doing this thing." Meanwhile, the crew is in the sound stage, tapping their feet, saying, "When are we going to get this thing going?" And it drove me absolutely crazy until I made a slight adjustment in my brain. And that adjustment was, Jeff, just relax. You're making a $200 million student film. Just relax and have fun. And that kind of did the trick, because here I get to play with these two incredible artists and just jam, and that's what we ended up doing. And for my money, that's the best Marvel movie. I know I'm biased, of course, but man, I thought that was it was a wonderful experience. And Jon Favreau, again, he was able to deal with the suits and deal with the actors and be a writer, and he's all of it, man. He's wonderful.
Hey, Mr. Blake. You all right, man?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
We're back on.
It's wonderful to be here in Pueblo with you all tonight. And if I've learned anything over the years, it's to give you people what you want, otherwise you won't want anything ever again.
Yeah. Crazy Heart, what an experience. Yeah, I turned it down several times, maybe for a couple of years, and it kept showing up. The reason that I gave myself was that there was no music, and no matter how good the story is, if there's no, it's all about music, and if you don't have the music, But that was just, that was kind of a lie I was telling myself. I think what was really going on was that the idea of doing a music movie like that was such a thrilling idea, because I love music. I, play guitar, write songs, and I said, oh, this would be so great. But once it becomes a reality and you actually make it, then you can fail, you know. You can drop the ball. And until that time, when you actually, you know, engage in that, it's in the dream world, you know, and you're not going to fail. You're not going to succeed, but you're not going to fail. You know, it's a bit like, you know, that wide receiver going out for that perfectly thrown pass, and you're just praying that your hands are going to grab that ball. You know, I find that, you know, often true. You know, the movies that are most exciting to you also produce the most anxiety because you don't want to drop the ball. You want to, you know, do justice to this great gift that you've been given. Scott Cooper, again, first-time director. I've had such wonderful luck with these guys. And you know, Scott was a terrific movie buff, a writer, which always helps tremendously. He was excited about what you were gonna give, and so supportive. And what do you need? And he was an actor himself, so he knew, you know, what actors are looking for, and the fear and the anxiety that we all have, you know, and how to work with that. So I was offered the thing many times and kept turning it down, telling myself, well, there's no music, you know. But I was really kind of afraid to, you know, ruin a dream. And I run into T-Bone, who we met on Heaven's Gate. T-Bone says, what do you think about this Crazy Art movie? I said, why do you ask? Are you interested? I say, yeah, but it's a good story, good script, but there's no music, you know? And he says, oh, that's the easy part, man. I said, you're kidding. He says, no, come on, you want to do it? I say, are you interested? He says, I'll do it if you'll do it. I said, oh, well, now, how can I, you know, that didn't feel right to, you know, to turn that opportunity down. I said, well, maybe it's all falling into place, you know. I said, okay, and off we go.
Gentlemen, the star of the show, the legendary Bad Blake.
Oh, you're the brief girl with stories of El Dorado. Huh. How much money you got there?
I saved $50 for Chief Cheney. You did not believe me?
Well, I did not know.
You know, I talking to Joel and said, Joel, why do you want to make this movie? I mean, this is, you know, John Wayne's, you know, big movie, and why do you guys want to do that? You know, and he says, have you read the Charles Portis book? And I said, no. And then I read the book, and I understood why, because the book read like a Coen Brother movie. It was just so perfect. And so I jumped in, you know, but God, that was, what a wonderful experience that was. Great actors. Haley's so terrific. Very difficult part, you know, to play that kind of intelligence, you know, and tenacity. And I remember the first scene we shot was her waking me up, and I said to Joel and Ethan, oh, she's gonna be so great. This is, we're so lucky to have her. I love playing Westerns. That's one of my earliest memories with my dad is, you know, him coming home from work with his cowboy hat and boots, and I would put them on and walk around. Love cowboys. Love that. What a great part of our history, the West.
Save your money. Meet me here at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll begin our coon hunt.
There's just one?
Yep, just one.
There's supposed to be two of them.
Maybe the town folks got one.
Well, if they did, they got the smart one. This old boy's out of his mind.
Hell or High Water. I really love that picture. David Mackenzie was wonderful to work with. Created a great environment on the set, unlike my favorite directors had a real, you know, strong vision of the way it ought to be, but also open at the same time. So he would take ideas from all of us actors, and God, he made a great movie, I think. I really love it.
Maybe one of these bank robbers is going to want a gunfight, and I can dodge my retirement in a blaze of glory.
My name is Dan Chase. I'm at 92 Nelville Street in Norwich. A man
just broke into my house with a gun. He fired at me. I fired back. I shot him. I think he's dead.
I read the script when I read the book, and those started to entice me. I said, well, Jeff, you know, the next step is you got to meet with the creators of these things. And I having a conversation with myself, say, yeah, but you know, you don't like to meet with those guys because their dreams can be contagious, man, and you're going to get sucked into their thing, you know? I said, yeah, but I like the script, I like the story, that's your next step. And I said, okay. So I met with John Steinberg and Warren Littlefield, Dan Schatz, and they got me, man. I got their dream. I caught their dream, and I said, oh, these guys, they can do it. They know what's needed, and they're prepared to bring that to the party. So I came on board, and then all of a sudden, you know, I was saying the casting, not only the actors, but the crew, that's so important, and they started to assemble this great team of John Lithgow, Amy Brenneman, you know, Alia Shawkat. There's just, everybody started to come together and exceed your expectations. You know, you always have high hopes, and then when it comes together, to be pleasantly surprised, it's better than I thought. That's what keeps you coming back. They cast these master stunt coordinators, Henry Kinsey and Tim Connolly, and these guys, they knew how to make it look real. They're experts in their field, masters. They make it look and they make it look easy, you know, but it's not. It takes a lot of hard work to give it that feeling of, oh, it's nothing, it's just a fight, you know. As I was saying, I resist engaging in projects, you know, do my best not to, because I know if I do this, I won't be able to do that, and I don't even know what that is, but I want to, you know, it's something about surrendering what you don't know is going to happen. That's a challenge for me. But I've been very fortunate. I've touched a lot of stuff I wanted to touch on.